motion, you're a spokesman.
There you go.
There you go.
It's not 6:30 yet.
Almost.
It is now.
It's 6:30.
You ready, James? Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Haslet's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Today's date is Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. The time is 6:30 p.m., and we do have a quorum present. This evening, we got several items of community interest. The first being that the Keller Haslet Road extension opening and ribbon cutting is going to take place on Friday, May 2nd at 10 a.m. And then there's the Haslet general election. It's going to be this Saturday, May 3rd. And we have the offices of mayor, council place 2, council place 4, the city of Haslet's up for election, and the voting hours on Saturday are going to be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Early voting ends in 30 minutes. Several items of the brush and limb drop-off will be held on May 10th, and that's going to be at the Schoolhouse Road Public Works facility, and the hours on that are from 8 to 12. And then there's going to be a special city council meeting on May 13th, and that's where they'll canvass the election results and administer oaths of office. Then on May 26th at 10 a.m. in the community Memorial Garden Community Park, we are going to have a citywide Memorial Day celebration, so come join that fun. And then on May 26th, Monday, the city offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. Moving on our consent agenda, we have our meeting minutes from our March 25th regular meeting. There are no discussions or changes. Is there a motion to approve the election results?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. Been seconded, all in favor? The motion passes. Moving on to agenda item 5, our public hearing and action items. Discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of an amendment to the Haslet zoning ordinance, amending the allowed accessory size from 30,000 square feet to 3,200 square feet. We're going to begin with our staff presentation.
The chairman and members of the board, on March 17th at our zoning board of adjustment meeting, there was an individual who came forward and basically was talking about, well, he wanted a 3,200 square foot accessory structure instead of a 3,000, which the ordinance calls for. And he said, if you get one that's smaller than 3,200
square feet. We're going to begin with our staff presentation.
The chairman and members of the board, on March 17th at our zoning board of adjustment meeting, there was an individual who came forward and basically was talking about, well, he wanted a 3,200 square foot accessory structure instead of a 3,000, which the ordinance calls for.
Yeah, I thought somebody was having a conversation or something.
If you get one that's smaller than 3,200
square feet. We're going to begin with our staff presentation.
The chairman and members of the board, on March 17th,
I thought it was Slade.
Board of Adjustment meeting, there was an individual who came forward and basically was talking about, well, he wanted a 3,200 square foot accessory structure instead of a 3,000, which the ordinance calls for.
Yeah, I thought somebody was having a conversation or something. I still hear it.
One that's smaller than 3,200
square feet.
Can't turn that volume.
All right, well, let's continue, and we'll just try to
Okay.
lock it out.
I'll start over.
All right, thank you, sir.
Chairman and members of the board, on March 17th at the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting, we had an individual that came forward and he was requesting a 3,200 square foot accessory structure instead of a 3,000 because he said all the kits that you can get, it's a big cost difference and it's more expensive to get a 3,000 square foot one rather than a 3,200. Well, I did some research and I contacted 3 and actually James contacted a 4th, Mueller, which didn't make the list that I put forward in your agenda package. And they said that they prepare packages and kits all the time and that 3,000 square foot was not a problem. And they sell it by the square foot or by the weight. And then we also, Mr. Thedford gave me a list of 6 different people who actually build them here in Haslet. And I contacted 3 of them, and which are listed in the agenda, and they have no problems. They say it's always more expensive to build a 3,200 square foot one rather than a 3,000. So I really didn't find any merit in changing the ordinance, and I think 3,000 square foot is very generous as far as an accessory structure.
Okay. Anything else you want to?
No, that's it.
Okay. This time we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against agenda item 5A? No one online. Recognizing that no one stepped forward, close the public hearing, and we'll move to discussion. So if your suggestion is we don't change it, why is this even coming before us? Who's making the request?
We had a council member. The Zoning Board of Adjustments is made up of the council members.
Okay.
And one of them made a suggestion that we do so. And so this
Thank
is
you. Now I understand.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, because I'm president of that board,
Okay.
is that the applicant who was asking for to go to 3,200 square foot, I, as the administrator, was able to authorize to go to 3,150. There's a percentage allowance that can be made. But the claim was that it was a premium to pay for 3,000 square feet was a premium, and a 3,200 square foot was a standard size.
Right.
And it was actually less. So I asked Mr. Schwanke and staff to research that, and they found no evidence of that.
Okay. Thank you.
If,
Anybody got any
if
questions?
somebody comes along and if we leave it at 3,000, they could always get a variance, correct?
They can ask for one, but
There's no guarantee that.
there's no
would,
guarantee.
But they can still ask.
Anybody can ask, but, we try to, follow the ordinance, and, 3,000 square feet, like I say, is very generous.
Yeah. You don't want to be picking and choosing when you grant variances.
Right.
That can be,
That would cause more trouble.
yes.
No, I think you guys did a thorough look at it, and I think that was a fair look, and
Yeah, I appreciate you
came up
having the
with a
research and the information.
yeah,
packet.
reasonable response. I mean, an additional 200 square feet of concrete is going to cost something, if nothing else. So, yeah, I'm ready for a motion.
The reason that it was considered to cause the claim, if we had something cited that you actually had to pay a premium for in lieu of 3,200 square foot, that is the sole reason that's up there, to acknowledge that, but we found no evidence.
Okay. Thank you for the background. Okay, any other questions, or do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, recommend the city council the denial of the Haslet zoning ordinance amending the allowed accessory size from 3,000 to 3,200 square feet.
So are we recommending city council denial, or are we denying the change?
You're recommending
Okay.
denial.
Okay, all right. So there's motion to recommend denial. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 6, we've got an exhibit of the residential projects status that's going on in the city of Haslet. We have a Keller Haslet Road construction status update. Is somebody going to speak to that, or no?
Yes. Is there anything, so you have your
I don't think
report
there's any-
on the residential. Okay, I'll go to Keller Haslet Road, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, yeah, 6B.
Very good. So Keller Haslet Road, as mentioned earlier, the ribbon cutting will be May 2nd at 10 a.m. I believe all of you have received an invitation as such. The road will actually open at 1 p.m. Just out of, if any of you have been keeping up with social media and other news, is that there was an outcry by Fort Worth residents about Haslet closing down Main Street to finish up construction, and their concern was no stoplights at the new intersection of Keller Haslet Road and FM 156. And that had been known for a year by everybody. In fact, back then, TxDOT had directed Haslet, they denied the signal lights and directed Haslet to open the road with a stop sign. Well, subsequent, 2 weeks ago, there's this outcry, and we worked with Fort Worth and Tarrant County and TxDOT, and today TxDOT has committed to installing the signal lights and have that operational. Their target is within 3 months. So just to let you and my first statement publicly, that's what's happening.
Nice.
On the next item, Haslet Parkway status. Haslet Parkway, if any of you have seen it, is the concrete is poured to a location called Station 69. Station 69 is east of the alternative education facility, the Learning Center over here on Schoolhouse Road. The contractors have been out there for maybe a month. They are finishing all that aspect, grading, seeding, guardrails, handrails, whatever the case may be on bridges and such. Their target is to open that road up all the way to Station 69 by midsummer, mid to late summer. That will, as I understand, I believe that, Jay, maybe you can confirm, is that the Sweetgrass Boulevard connection has been made.
Nice.
That's been poured. There is a project coming with Stream Realty. It's active right now. That will make the connection of intermodal, that stretch from Blue Mound Road north to Haslet Parkway. That will be made at that time. Here within, I don't know how many months or what the time frame is. But when Haslet Parkway is open, mid-late summer, the folks in Sweetgrass and Caraway can utilize those roads to access Haslet Parkway.
Nice.
Community Park and Gamble Park construction projects, it was bidded out. Yes, sir.
Can I ask, has the, once, and that's Zachary finishing that up?
Yes.
And then is their contract going to be terminated? Is there going to be, their contract's going to be closed or not?
I believe the term that TxDOT used is their contract was suspended. Their intent is to, in about a year, year and a half, is to let a new contract to finish out the project.
Which will bring it all the way to 156?
Well, it'll take it all the way to our
All the
western
way to
city
Latera.
limits, across 156, the railroad tracks, and to the western city limits on Avondale Haslet.
So,
That is in discussion, but the only approved design right now is all at grade.
yeah,
That's the original design.
right. So they're
But the
thinking,
intent is to incorporate a bridge with the new letting of the contract.
oh, okay, so they're going to basically rebid the project, or bid that completion of the project?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. They'll let that, okay.
Well, it's a year and a half, and then there's a bidding process and selection, and then mobilizing, so it might be 2.5 years before you see anything happen out there again. And then maybe 3 years of construction. So, all of those are just educated guesstimates at this point in time. There are no firm dates on any of this issued by TxDOT nor anyone else. Community Park and Gamble Park construction projects, those were put out to bid. The bids have been received, and this city council meeting, those bids or the contract will be awarded. And this is to do the numerous repairs on the Community Park Trail There are drainage issues. It'll address that and reconstruct parts of the tap trail, and as well as in Gamble Park, that was for a new picnic pavilion of similar size, I think 12 by 12, small picnic pavilion, so a foundation, a new pavilion. Is that correct, James?
That's correct, and then 2 covered benches.
And 2 covered benches.
Nice.
And that's our status on those projects, sir.
Excellent. Thank you for the updates. Appreciate that. Moving on to agenda item 7, we have a legislative briefing, and we're going to be learning more about the local government code, chapter 247, and that's out of the 88th legislature.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, again, this legislative briefing, this has to do with the 88th. We're actually in the 89th legislature right now. But this came out of the 88th, and it came to my attention, and I have consulted with the attorney on this. But nonetheless, I want to make note, this is in the local government code. There are 2 chapter 247s in the local government code. How they came to that, I have no idea. But the first, chapter 247, if you go into the local government code, has to do with regulation of energy sources and engines. That's not the topic tonight. I just want to make that out there. There's 2 chapter 247s. So if you'll flip to the 3rd page, you'll see the 2nd chapter 247. And this has to do with third-party review of development documents and inspection of improvements. And I've highlighted at the bottom of the page the 15th day. And I was very concerned about this. Have they modified this to we only have 15 days now? And third-party review is where the client gets to go hire somebody to review the documents for the city. So I sought our attorney's opinion and interpretation of this, and in essence, what this says, and I highlighted, it said the bottom says by the 15th day after the date prescribed by a provision of this code. They're referring to chapter 212. That is the chapter that covers approval of plats, and that is the chapter that initiates the 30-day shot clock we're all familiar with. So if by reason the P&Z and or City Council do not approve within that first 30 days, on the 15th day or after the 15th day of the non-approval or disapproval or approval with conditions, that the applicant can go hire someone to review that plat, that development, that housing permit, any of that. So what that's, the term development document is very broad, and what it is. Yes. Nonetheless, I just wanted to make you aware of it. The attorney said that there has not been any use of this particular chapter 247 that they're aware of. So I just wanted to make you knowledgeable of it, make you aware.
So what is Belchep? Have you talked to them about that?
No.
I mean, they're involved in review documents all the time, engineering plans, plats, et cetera.
Oh, they do, and our attorney is briefing all the staff on this.
Okay, but any review, okay, so if after 15 days you don't get it, then go hire somebody else. They're still obviously subject to our code and everything here. So
They
they're
are
going to
our-
hire an independent engineer to review it, but that engineer's got to be familiar with all of our building codes and.
Oh, it does not
planning
relieve
requirements. Yeah,
anything
that's what
on
I'm saying.
requirements.
So what you'd end up is other, if Belchef didn't do it, PC Wallach Engineering could do it, and, which I don't have. And but still make a presentation to planning and zoning and all that, it would all have to comply, and come through Maurice and all of that stuff. I mean, it's all got to comply.
No, the way this is written is they can approve it.
Well, they can't, they can approve it?
So the process is an applicant makes an application, say, for a development, a plat. Okay, well, there's certain criteria that, okay, that's in our subdivision ordinance as well as in the state statutes that document has to contain. Until you provide all that, you don't have a complete application. So all those requirements have to be met, and that constitutes a complete application. Okay, clock starts running when you have this complete application. The 30-day shot clock does. What that does, the first step is, yes, the engineer, Belchef and Associate, reviews the document, makes their comments, and it gets on the planning and zoning agenda. So from the time it was accepted till 30 days out, P&Z must approve, disapprove, or approve with conditions. And that goes before, that's sent to the city council as a recommendation of one of those three. If P&Z did not do that, and this 15 days in addition, so 45 days go by, the applicant can go hire a firm to approve, disapprove, or approve conditionally, and that would go to the city council. If the city council failed to approve, disapprove, approve with conditions within that 45, because that clock starts anew, within that 45 days, then again, a third-party reviewer could approve it. But also, built into that is, if something like that were to happen, that the, let's say, planning and zoning or city council did not approve, disapprove, or approve conditionally within that 30-day clock, the city administrator, the mayor, can approve, disapprove, or conditionally approve. So there's a couple of safeguards there. So I am just I guess I'm being academic. I want you to be aware this exists in the state statute that got bias from the 88th legislature.
It seems like they're writing this, and then the next section to help the applicant or prevent the applicant from being subjected to undue delays in approvals or denials or inspections and things like that. Is that how you interpret this?
Well, yes, this was a step towards that. The 89th legislature is fraught with bills like that. And in fact, there is a bill, and the city has been very active in reviewing and monitoring all these bills and sending communications both to state representatives and senators on the city's stance with regard to that. But there is one that I recall that we've commented on already from the very beginning. The developer or whomever it is has the option of going with purely a third-party reviewer or the city with no input from the city. So it's gone, there's extremes in these bills, There is a big move by many in state representatives as well as senators to minimize local government control and authority, all for the aim of how fast can we build.
Am I correct in the understanding, though, they can't go anywhere unless they have this application brought before us? Is that correct? The clock doesn't start until they have that application.
As it exists today.
You said the 89th legislation is trying to change that.
As it exists today, you're correct. So that was my summary on that. Probably the next meeting, I will bring you some review of the 89th legislature, what's been proposed and what's been replied to.
Good. Thank you very much for that information. We appreciate that. Moving on, agenda item 8, executive session. Any reason we need to go to executive session? No? All right, moving on to agenda item 9, which there are no actions resulting from that. And then we look to future agenda items, agenda item number 10. Anything we need to talk about tonight about what's coming up?
Well, there's nothing to talk about, but there should be several plats that'll be coming forth in the next few weeks that'll be put on your agenda.
Okay, excellent. And with that, we will
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
adjourn. And the time is 6:56 p.m.
Is that like a record?
That is not a record.
No, it's not?
I think our record is like 8 minutes or less.